welcome to another campaign diary for the Troll Skull Club, our Dungeons and Dragons game that we play. My name's John, my pronouns are he, him, and I'm going to talk about the session that we just finished. We didn't just finish, I mean it was last night, but our session that we had last night. So continuing the story from where we left off, our band of adventurers have been searching for one of their party members, the whereabouts of their missing family. Their family had been disappeared, been gone for about 5 years, and some clues led the party into the Underdark. And so, where we last left our session, Quick, our tiefling sorcerer cleric, received a message in her brain, in her mind, through the cantrip message, saying that I will meet you at the auction. Now there's this giant auction for magical items and all sorts of stuff in this Underdark city of Emberfell that they're currently in. Quick, looking around quickly, quickly, that's funny, that's clever. She looked around using her perception and was able to see 120 feet off her wife, who's been kind of being very mysterious and has been kind of eluding Quick for some reason. Her wife goes to cast another spell and realizes that she doesn't have any more spell slots for the day, which is something, if you watched the last campaign diary, you saw me realize. I realized in real time. So this then began a chase sequence, which was it was a lot of fun. It was very exciting. It turned comedic very quickly. Because I wanted to bring a little bit of levity because I knew it was going to get very heavy, but also because of the actual situation that was happening. I was able to kind of bring some insight into what Aura is thinking, Quick's wife, as the players all kind of Quick using Misty Step and using her dashing and is just running through the streets. Bryn, our elven monk cleric, decided to leap up on the rooftops and begin following that way. Harvey, our Aarakocra bird man, rogue, decided to fly overhead, and they all began to converge very quickly upon Quick's wife, Aura, and her companion, a kobold by the name of Belrish, and his mechanical dog, Freddy. Because he's a battlesmith. He is a battlesmith defender. Because he is oh gosh, what's it? Not the alchemist. The other, the Unearthed Arcana class. Not archivist. Oh my god, why am I blanking on this? Either way, who cares? I'll think of it later. Harvey is able to kind of fly overhead and pass Aura and kind of block her way as she darts down an alleyway. Bryn is able to do some dope monk shit and kind of like use their staff to rappel down these string lights. So like lights are breaking as they're ziplining down basically. And Quick corners her in this alleyway, and she asks her if their children are still alive. And Aura stops and kind of turns and just says, I think so. And so after that, the players they decide that maybe the alleyway is not the best place to have this conversation, and so they head back to the Blushing Spectre, which was the tavern that the players are currently staying at in the city of Emberfell. It's this very rundown, very shoddy kind of tavern, and this is where we got to have a nice, fun conversation. It was a lot of great roleplay, but it was essentially, the explanation, the what has been going on, a lot like kind of info dump, but it was a point for Aura and Quick to reconnect, and for Quick to kind of understand where Aura has been coming from. She basically explains that she's, her and the children were kidnapped by some Dorgar, taken down to the Underdark. She was sold to this mining camp, had been there for a while, and then a cave-in that blocked her off from the rest of the mining group allowed her to escape. And she spent time, she's not sure how long, just trying to survive and make her way through the tunnels, and she didn't know how to get back up to the world above, to the surface world. And eventually she started to hear this voice that came to her in her dreams, a devil that basically said, "Hey, I can help you find your family. I can give you the power to make sure that nobody ever, is chained away again. That you're never chained up again. That you're never imprisoned again." And so she accepts and becomes a warlock of Levistus, which is very exciting. Another kernel of nugget of knowledge is that Levistus claims that Quick, Aura's wife, comes from his lineage or his line, which, a lot of tieflings, they have that infernal legacy, they have that devilish blood. It doesn't always have to be, a direct, a devil had sex with a person type of thing. I couldn't think of a cooler, a weird way, different way to say that besides just saying it like that. So it's not always that direct descendant as in that way. Sometimes it's a person in a bloodline makes a deal with the devil, and that's how the infernal legacy that blood kind of gets within the bloodline. There are a lot of different options, and I thought it'd be fun because of just if you look up Levistus, and kind of Levistus is this archdevil who's imprisoned in this glacier, and so I thought he would be a very good patron for Aura because her having been, and also give her the power to not be imprisoned again, which I think is a very kind of fun. I like warlocks a lot, and I like the whole idea behind patrons, and I also like the idea of giving them thematic reasonings to make a deal, and story reasonings as well. So introducing the idea that Quick is a descendant of Levistus, just a little bit more. Could be touched upon later, could not be, could just be a piece of the world that we don't really get to see. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But after some awkward conversations at the bar, some fun role playing with Bryn and Harvey, the other two party members who are listening to this conversation, as Bryn is just ordering tea and also getting role play with Sanosuke, the owner of the tavern, who is just this poor man, this Dragonborn, he's not very good at running a tavern, and he's really poor, and so he has to constantly look for things. It's like, oh hey, can I get a shot of something? He always has to look in clean glasses, and it's not run very well. It's kind of funny, especially since the players have their own tavern in Troll Skull Alley, in Waterdeep. So it's a little bit fun of playing with that idea. Eventually, they find out that Aura is in Emberfell for two reasons. Levistus wants her to make sure that, in her words, some idiot made a deal with Asmodeus to deliver 100 souls to the Nine Hells. I'm here to make sure that this person goes to the auction and is able to acquire this item that the demon army wants. Because in the Forgotten Realms and D&D lore, devils and demons are in a constant blood war with one another. And so the idea is that this person who made this deal is going to purchase an item that the demons would very much want. It's a weapon that it would help the demon army. And so if the devils can get their hands on it, then that would give them a leg up in the war. The ironic thing is that Harvey is the idiot. Harvey's the person who made this deal, and it's Harvey's job to go to the auction and to purchase this item, which was fun because it's kind of fun playing with cosmic circumstances and cosmic Aura just kind of laughs because it's just no, that can't possibly be, that can't seriously. The idea that I've been running away from this conversation because I was scared to have it, and it turns out that no matter what I would have ran into you, is it's just a funny situation. And so it's a lot of fun playing with that kind of fate versus choices and all those types of things. So they decide to all sleep. Aura goes back to her abode that she had already kind of purchased and received, and the players have a long night's rest, and they head to the auction the next day. Now the Emberfell auction is very much like a fancy upper crust kind of big timey auction. A lot of rich and powerful people across planes, across the nine hell, everywhere, from everywhere and anywhere. So the players they enter in, they get their own little box because it's kind of like opera house, like seating like that. So they have like a nine hells box that it's all of them are in, and they do a little bit of bidding at the auction. So what I attempted to do, because I was like, I could just name a whole bunch of random items and give you prices and stuff. That's boring though. Is there anything that you all would possibly be interested in? Because this would be a place where magic items aplenty are. And so I had a table of prices, essentially from Xanathar's Guide to Everything, of the purchasing magic item table. That's like rare items are 2d6 times 10,000 gold, or for all of that stuff. I do wish I'd done this a little bit differently. I wish I should have, I think, in the time between the last two sessions, asked, hey, are there any magic items that you might be interested in? They could be at the auction, and so that I could have gotten a list, and then I could have decided which ones I wanted to show up, or maybe different versions of things to show up. So that probably would have been better to give the players a little bit more time to prepare and to think of things instead of on the spot trying to think of magic items that they might want. So they didn't really purchase anything, and then eventually they get to the bidding on the item that the item that the demonic army might want, the weapon, and it is the Wand of Orcus, the Demon Prince of Undeath, which is a lot of, I love. I think Orcus is super cool and interesting, and the Wand of Orcus is such an interesting weapon, and I love the idea of one of Orcus's thralls maybe perished in battle, and someone was able to nab this item and is now selling it to the highest bidder. Because like Orcus will sometimes give this weapon out to some of his highest lieutenants or people that he wants to enact his will upon the world, the material world. And for that to go through an auction house is kind of hilarious to me. But Harvey is able to bid. There are some counter offers, but he is able to win the bidding and actually receive this item. So they head to a back room where they're given this box that the item is in. They're told they're told by their the archdevils that they serve of like, hey, don't open the box, just don't do it, because the Wand of Orcus, if you know anything about it, you have to even like wield it, you have to make a saving throw or you take necrotic damage. Like, it is a rough. Ooh. Ooh. I know he's very, very upset about the whole Wand of Orcus thing. He's not a fan of the undead. Yeah, cool. Dorcas, man. Dorcas and the Wand of Undeath. So they get the item, and then Aura tries to intimidate the auction master into allowing them access to his records, so that they could try and see if their children had gone through the auction house and where they might be currently. Is not successful, and Harvey though is able to use his roguish ways and sleight of hand and rolls really well, and is able to nab a little pouch off of the auction master's his waist. There might be keys in there, maybe, or it might just be he might have just grabbed something useless. They weren't really able to check because by the time they exited the auction, they were attacked by a large woman who has this giant halberd on her back, and all these furs, definitely like a barbarian, and this goat-like demonic creature, a Bulezau, or I think that I'm pronouncing that right. And they basically are like, give us the Wand of Orcus, or we're going to murder you. And Harvey, played so brilliantly by Cameron Morris, says, we're the fucking Troll Skull Club. Try and take it. As Desdemona, the woman, responds, I don't know who the fuck you are. And that is the end of the session, and next session is going to be the combat with these two demonic thralls, people who are working for the demon, the demon side, possibly working specifically for Orcus. There's Desdemona is very interesting. I told the players, I was like, she has 125 hit points, just so you're aware, because their numbers are smaller than they're used to having, because there's only 4 of them currently at the auction, which is Bryn, our Elven Cleric, Harvey, the Rogue, Quick, the Tiefling Sorcerer, and Aurora, the Warlock. So they have a pretty good mixture of people, a couple multi-classes and stuff, so it will be interesting. Desdemona is a barbarian, and she is the Path of the Zealot, as she is a zealot for Orcus. She is, worships at the altar of the Prince of Undeath. So it'd be very fun to. I love barbarians, especially high level barbarians, especially for combat like this where it's about half and half casters, half kind of melee and range, half actual people who attack. So it'd be fun for her to be able to get up and close in those casters' faces. And also the Bulezal, again, don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, has some interesting abilities as well. And so it's just going to be a fun combat encounter. And then it'll be interesting to see what the players are going to do to try and get this ledger, if that is their next course of action. They also have to deliver the Wand of Orcus to the Devils, but the Devils also said, we will have someone come and meet you and get that from you. And as long as Harvey can keep his bird wings on the Wand of Orcus, he'll have 10 souls taken off of the... I believe he's down to like 92, 94, or 90. I don't know, but it'll help with the amount that he has to take. There's also been some fun kind of role play with Harvey, as I've been making him see and hear things that are not actually there, making him hallucinate a little bit. Seems that maybe the devilish influence or the influence of the contract on him is warping his perception, as there's one moment where he thinks that one of the party members tells him that he should just start killing innocent people to knock off some of the souls on the list that he has to deliver. And he actually doesn't figure out if that's real or not. He doesn't roll high enough, and the other party members, the way they react to him does not tell him that what he heard wasn't real. So it'd be interesting to play a little bit more with that, because just from like the Dungeon Master side of things, it feels like everyone got pretty okay and pretty cool with just the fact that he has to deliver 100 souls to the Nine Hells. Like besides Bryn, our Elven Cleric, everyone's just kind of like, all right, cool. We're just gonna kill bad people, you know. But as I've mentioned before, you promise you're gonna deliver 100 souls to the Nine Hells. They don't want to wait, especially when those souls are going straight to the front lines of the Blood War. And also, this is an evil presence. This contract that's branded on his arm is an evil influence, and so it does have a corrupting nature. And it would be fun to kind of start playing with that a little bit more. But yeah, that's been this session. I think that's about everything I have. I'm very excited for this next combat encounter. I'm excited to play this barbarian woman who is pretty dope. She also has some magic on her, as she is a servant to Orcus. She has some spell casting as well. And then the Bulezal has some interesting abilities as well. And it'll be fun to see the reunited wives get to fight together, Aurora and Quick. And that was really nice, finally getting to give some sort of closure to that. Because I know there have been a lot of emotions and a lot of worrying about how this was going to go down. And I think it went really well. And I'm just excited to see, because we're getting into the end game of this Underdark story arc. As there is a rebellion coming soon to liberate the city of Emberfell from the oppression of Lord Gwar Doomfist. And they should hopefully, maybe, see how things go, possibly find out the location of Quick and Aurora's children. And then we head back to the world above and continue the story of the Trollskull Club. So it's been very exciting. I've been loving the Underdark arc because I love this setting and this story and the backstory that Lauren, who plays Quick, gave me, and just being able to play with that. And also the city of Emberfell is really fun, and I love that city that I made. I'm very excited to hopefully, after the players leave, maybe they come back, or keep it in the world and make it a place that they want to see again and visit again. So anyway, that's all of my thoughts really on this session. We're gonna be playing again next week, and then I think we're gonna be probably taking some time off because the majority of us are headed to Disney World, so that's very exciting. Get to meet up and have some fun there. Anyway, I'll catch you later.